sitting here like some judgmental person pointing the finger at women like I've never been through anything when I have. And I wish society wouldn't have patted me on the back and told me it was okay. It's your girl Shishi, and I'm back with another video. So on today's video, we're talking about women who have the most emotional baggage seem to have the most requirements when it comes to dating and relationships. But before we get started, y'all already know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button for your girl. This makes sure that my content is seen by other people. And if you like my content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get into the topic, y'all. So I just want to say this, y'all. I'm not against women. And some women seem to think because I am not talking about manipulating men, I'm kind of calling out some of the toxic behaviors in women and not men, that I seem to be part of this red pill community, or I'm just a pick me, or I don't support women. And let me just go ahead and say this. I do support women. I'm one of the people who, I'm not going to support you when you're out here doing foolish things, okay? When the things that you're doing is not only hurting yourself, but it can also hurt future generations. That's what I care about the most, really, y'all, is the generations that are coming behind the women that are out here putting out this toxic information. And because we know that women are the influencers of the planet, and I am a woman, why not address these issues? What do I look like talking about what men and what men need to do when I'm not a man? I don't know the things that men go through. I've never gone through that, again, because I'm not a man. But when it comes to women and what we go through and the emotional things that we go through, the behavior and the character traits that we display that is very toxic to us, like, I understand that. I understand the trials and tribulations when it comes to being a woman, because I am a woman. So I can't speak on men. I haven't had a lot of experience with a lot of toxic men, so I can't really sit here and just spew out this hate about men when that just haven't been my experience. Have I been with some men that were toxic? Yes. And so I can't speak on those experiences, but I've also been with really, really good men. And I'm not one of those women that sit here and just bash men all day. I think it's very toxic, and it's really not doing any good. Like, what good is that doing by just sitting here and just talking about all the toxic things that men do? I am not a man hater. I don't hate men, and I don't talk bad about men. I'm considered a pick-me, or I'm considered not supportive of women, when in all reality I am very supportive of women. I just don't support the BS, okay? And so that's what I feel my purpose is to just share my point of view on certain topics, so that we can get conversations going. And it's not that I'm just talking about empty topics and empty subjects. I'm actually bringing depth to it, because I'm inserting the healing part that is missing when we talk about these relationships, the healing. And I feel like talking about the healing is talking about the solutions, and that is what I feel like is missing. There's so many men that are pointing the finger and blaming women for society, and then you have women that are doing the same thing, pointing their fingers at men. And it's just this back and forth battle of the sexes that has been going on for ages. In the Western society, we see the damage that this battling and going forth has done, and it hasn't really, like, we haven't brought on any solutions. There has not been any solutions that has been brought forth from what I can see and what I've listened to. I just don't see too many people talking about the healing and the inner work that has to take place when it comes to relationships. Because like I always say, relationships are mirrors. Relationship is the inner work. Relationships is the inner work, because relationships are mirrors. So if you're doing the inner work, if you are healing, if you are on that journey, then your relationships will reflect that. So that's why I'm very passionate about these topics, and I'm using my platform to make these videos more consistently, because I see the damage that is being caused for the battles, and there's never any solution. So that's why I'm here to talk about the solutions. Okay, so I'm not here to bash women, and some of the things that I may say may trigger you if you are a woman and you have not dealt with if you have not dealt with certain traumas, if you haven't dealt with certain emotions, if you've just suppressed them. When it comes to women, I feel like society does us a great injustice by just patting us on the back and telling us it's okay to stay how we are, and we'll just find somebody who can just match that, instead of teaching women how to really heal those traumas so that they can go on to have healthy relationships. Nobody's talking about that. I don't really see a lot of people talking about that. I'm not saying that there aren't any, but I'm going to be one of the ones that talks about the healing process. Okay, with, like I said, with women, society loves to pat us on the back. So when you hear someone that brings up these topics about some of the bad decisions that we've made in our lives, okay, it triggers us, because we've been taught to just suppress it, that it's just gonna be okay. And because they have gave you this pat on the back and this green light, you end up making the same choice over and over and over again. You keep making the same choices that is really hindering you, and that is hurting you, you keep making these choices over and over again, because society gives women a pat on the back and tells us it's gonna be okay. And that's what makes me so upset. And I'm not just sitting here like some judgmental person pointing the finger at women like I've never been through anything, when I have. And I wish society wouldn't have patted me on the back and told me it was okay. The influence from the media that was actually telling me that the choices that I were making were not healthy. So again, it's not like I'm just sitting here pointing the finger at women like I've never been through anything. I have, and that's the point. I'm in my healing journey, and I want to help other women go through this healing journey, and I also want to prevent younger women from experiencing the same type of traumas. So no, I'm not pointing the fingers at anybody. I'm trying to come with solutions. So if you feel like I'm being judgmental, if I'm triggering you, I promise you that I've been through some of the same things that you've been through that I'm talking about, and I'm trying to prevent other women from going through this, and I'm also trying to help women heal from this. Okay, so you can miss me with that, me being judgmental, because maybe I've been through some things. Okay, not just sitting here and just pointing my finger judging women for their choices, or the quote-unquote bad choices that they've made, because I've made some unhealthy choices too. I'm going to call them unhealthy choices because that's what they are. And it just leads to us just suppressing our emotions, and just being triggered anytime someone comes around and tells us the truth. Does it feel good to hear these things? No, it doesn't. But that actually sent me to a place of healing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the point. Like, is to get on this path of healing. Because they just tell us, oh, you're strong, you're gonna be strong, it's gonna be okay, and that's not helping us, because when they tell us that, we continue to just keep making the same mistakes, because oh, it's gonna be okay, you know, somebody is gonna just have our back, you know what I'm saying? For a lot of women, they feel like, oh, the government is gonna help them take care of their kids that they have out of wedlock from Pookie, because they knew Pookie was a deadbeat, but they decided to have a baby by Pookie anyway. But it's okay, because the government is gonna help help them, or you know, it's okay, it's gonna always be a man that's gonna want them even though they got 5 kids and 5 baby daddies. Like, it's okay. No, it's not okay, sis. It's not okay. Am I telling you that you're less than? I'm not telling you that whatsoever, but what I'm telling you, that these decisions that you've made are destructive. So I know I kind of went on a little rant there, but I just had to just make this known because people are trying to say that I'm judgmental. But a lot of times those are women who are feminists and they want to keep pushing this toxic rhetoric of beating up on men when that's not helping us. I can't stand when I bring up what women should do to help themselves to make better decisions, and here come a feminist woman with that feminist mindset. Well, what about men? Well, what about men? What about men? Worrying about men and what they got going on is not going to help you. Work on you. Focus on you. Stop trying to deflect and keep talking about what men are doing. Men need to do this. Like, just, that's making excuses. Let's get back to you in the healing, okay? You have to hold yourself accountable for the decisions that you made in your life that may not have turned out the way you thought they were going to turn out. You have to take accountability for that, and you can't play the victim, and that's hard for a lot of women to do, okay? And I know it and I understand it, but I'm still gonna speak the truth, okay? Getting back to the topic though, like, women who have the most baggage, they tend to have the most requirements when it comes to men, and I'm trying to, like, this is where I feel like they get things confused, okay? And when I'm talking about baggage, I'm talking about emotional baggage, right? I'm talking about women that have had trauma, they have experienced trauma, whether it was due to just their childhood experiences or from them being older and making bad decisions or making unhealthy choices. They hold on to this trauma, they hold on to this baggage, and deep down inside they are like playing the victim. They are really playing the victim. They think that men owe them something, to think that because they look good that that's enough, and they're not doing any inner work, okay? So they go from picking the wrong type of men, having these horrible experiences with men, not healing from them, and then still saying, well, I have these requirements, I have these long list of requirements. He has to be tall, he has to be handsome, he has to be fit, he has to be paid, he can't have no kids. Meanwhile, sis is over here with 3 kids, 3 different men, not fit. Mental health is all over the place. Don't know how to communicate. Don't know how to control their emotions. All of those things. So that's why I always say, if you want this man that you desire, you gotta be real about where you are, okay? A lot of times women pick the wrong type of men in the beginning, and then they get hurt by these men, and then instead of healing, okay, they just say, okay, well, it's like instead of them actually healing themselves, they allow their ego to take over. So they become like this victim. They start having this victim mindset, and they start, blaming men for it. They don't hold themselves accountable for the part that they played. And then they say, well, now since I've been through all of that trauma with this type of man, then now it's time for me to get with a different type of man. I want him to be a provider, a protector, the divine masculine. They want to get with that type of man now after going through all of this trauma, and they're not healing the trauma. Just because they're a woman and they haven't done any of the healing work, that they deserve a good man, but yet they're not good women themselves. A lot of times these women hold a lot of emotional baggage. They really don't know how to control their emotions. They don't know how to communicate, okay? They are self-absorbed, okay? Highly egotistical. highly materialistic, very combative, very competitive, and they do this with their man, and yet they feel like they can take all of this trauma and still be able to attract this high value man, and it just doesn't work that way. That's why I said, like, these women really do need to take the time to heal whatever it is that they need to heal, first and foremost. And this just goes back to like this whole saying that all women are the prize, and all women are not the prize. I don't even know why women keep saying that all women are not the prize. What makes them the prize? Okay, if they're jealous, if they're combative, if they don't know how to communicate, if they don't know how to control their emotions, if they're insecure, how are they the prize to a man? Most of the time, a good man is not gonna want that. That's not what he's seeking after. Yeah, you know, your good looks and your great body will get you slept with, but is it gonna get a commitment? And that's what a lot of women seem to be confused about, because they're still pursued by men, but a lot of times it's only for sex and it's not for a commitment. I'm not saying to not have any standards. I'm saying to be real with yourself and be self-aware, and to realize where you played a part in all of the trauma. Where did you play a part in this? And then start working through that so that you can become a better woman, and then you will be the prize for the type of man that you want. And during this journey, you will start to see that maybe some of the things on your list are a bit unrealistic, and you'll start making adjustments. That's what the healing process does, okay? So again, this is only for women who have endured and gone through things, and they are holding on to a lot of emotional baggage, yet they still are out there dating. They still have all of these requirements, and they are basically a good man, yet they haven't done any work to deserve this type of man. This whole self-entitlement and this whole delusion is really messing women up. I'm going to start to see the effects of this, okay? I mean, we already see it now, but it's really gonna, like, we're really gonna start to see the effects, especially now that the world is changing, and y'all will see. Like, I'm not just here talking just to be talking. Like, this is really spirit led. Like I said, if you're not out here, if you're not doing the inner work, if you're not doing the work that it takes to get the type of man that you want, then it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, because you're just not going to attract those type of men, okay? When you have emotional baggage, I'm talking about women who have a lot of trauma, a lot of emotional baggage, and they have not worked through it, but yet they still have these long lists of requirements of what they want the man to have. So they feel like they could just show up with just their looks or body or whatever, and that the man is just gonna take them. They're still holding on to these toxic traits, okay? Not saying they're never gonna find a man, but it's gonna always be something wrong. These women, like, you really expect to have this Prince Charming show up to you, that is, you know, have all these quality characteristics. He's a really good man, you know, one that's going to be loyal to you, one that's going to be a provider, a protector, and all of those things that you may have on the list, a long list, because sometimes these women have a long list, okay? Long list, and yet you haven't done anything. You're still holding on to this trauma. Like, so that's what leaves these women in this, it seems like that's what leaves these women in an unhealthy state, because it's like they haven't done the inner work. They have these long lists of requirements, and every man that they meet, they just don't fit their list of requirements. So it's just this continued cycle of unhappiness and loneliness and bitterness. And then a lot of times you see them hop on YouTube and become relationship coaches, okay? So beware of that. I did a video about that too, so check that out. But anyway, y'all, that was pretty much it. That was the basis of my message. Again, I know that these messages aren't easy to hear, and sometimes they can be triggering, but if it is triggering for you, then that means that there's definitely some work that you need to do. But it's all love here. That's what I'm here to help you ladies with. And yeah, so that's it, y'all. If you made it this far to the video, I do appreciate you for watching, and I will see y'all on the next video. Bye, loves.